Come check out great deals on Cyberfrog and All Caps Comics merch on our eBay store. We ship within 12 hours. Come see us. 50 years ago, a young Tom Brevoort was carrying his lunch tray, I'm sure, through his middle school or maybe even high school cafeteria. And somebody stuck out their leg and tripped him. And Tom Brevoort fell, and the chocolate milk all over his glasses, as he fell on his face. And he looked up to see some bullies laughing at him. And they were really just the heavy metal kids, the rock and roll kids. Look at you. And ever since that day, Tom Brevoort has made it, I believe, his quest to punish and bully others, the people who he felt bullied by. And yet, unfortunately, Tom Brevoort is only in the position to bully people exactly like he was when he was a kid. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm Ethan Van Sciver, 30-year veteran of the comic book industry. Never been tripped with my lunch tray, not even once. Never given a purple nurple a swirly pushed into my locker. It just didn't happen to me. But I sympathize with people who it did happen to. Let's grow past that together without actually taking over the X-Men and ruining it, like Tom Brevoort has done in retaliation for all the bullying I believe he received. Tom Brevoort, X-Men editor now, evidently. He was working on the, I think he was doing some Spider-Man stuff, working with Dan Slott mostly. God help him. Uses his personal Twitter to launch this little teaser at X-Men From the Ashes, July 2024. Start the clock, says Tom. So if comics are still here, if they still exist in July of 2024, which hopefully they will, you will get to see Tom Brevoort's apology for the X-Men comic books of the last 10 years, which is what this looks like it is. You got to return to the original logo from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, back when X-Men was the biggest thing in the world. So that's coming back. The other logos that they've been using lately, a little goofy, not as eye-catching, suggesting that, there were people who are not quite as creative as the creators of these comic books before them, taking a hand at it, taking a stab at it. Just leave it the way it is. That's what Tom's saying here. What he's also saying is it's from the ashes. But these two things together, my friends, are an admission of guilt, an admission that Marvel and whoever the regime was that was running the X-Men before burned it to the ground. Tom's got to resurrect it somehow, and let's hope that he can. But fans aren't necessarily on his side, and this is where the lunch tray memories come back. Unless you retcon the past 10 or 20 years of X-Men canonical history so none of it ever happened, to reveal they were all damaged Sinister clones the whole time while the real X-Men were in stasis. The whole thing is pointless. The damage goes back way before the terrible Krakoa era. So short of a massive recon, you've effectively broken these characters for good. Congratulations. And then, good job, Tommy. He does the, see this right here, this is the most triggering part, the applause. Because this is the applause. Hey, you have a nice trip there, Tommy? As he fell into his lunch tray. That's the whole thing. That's when you feel like you're being bullied. Now, Thor Odinson, that guy, immediately comes back with some evidence that what was going on before on Krakoa wasn't necessarily the X-Men at their best. Remember the X-Men theme song from the cartoon? Mostly what it was a bunch of very strange creators with proclivities towards drag queens, recostuming these superheroes and making them look like homosexual runway models. This is not what most people were. Nightcrawler, God help me. This is not what most X-Men fans were looking for, but it definitely was what 2% of the population of X-Men fans were looking for. And they felt represented, they felt seen by this. And that's an important thing to realize because, once again, oh my God, look at Captain America. Trading in heroism and self-sacrifice for just vanity and, ugh. Ugh. Disgusting. So people are upset now. Not only are regular X-Men fans thoroughly burned, coming back from the ashes. Normal X-Men fandom is ashes at this point. But what about that small percentage of LGBTQ types who were very excited? People who have pronouns in their bios. People who think that high drama in comics is superheroes correcting each other about their pronouns. That's what people were enjoying, supposedly, these people about X-Men for so long. And what about those people? Are they happy about this? No, of course, this is a betrayal to them, too. And they came out at Tom Brevoort and started yelling at him, saying, "What are you doing? You're taking away our gay X-Men from us." Tom Brevoort must have felt embattled. He must have felt terrible. And Tom Brevoort, here's the thing about him. He's using his Twitter for a bunch of different things. First of all, mostly what he uses it for is just to post images of wacky packages from the 1970s. So that's mostly what his Twitter is. That's his personal Twitter. But the other thing he's using it for is official Marvel Comics business, to sit there and promote and talk about upcoming Marvel projects. And in that capacity, he should just post this stuff and just leave it. But he can't do that because he's Tom Brevoort, former bullied kid, who is now trying to be a bully. So this is what he does. He comes back and he does what Marvel editors have done, what's led to Comicsgate being a thing in the first place, and he immediately tries to bully, ostracize, scream at the fans, call them names, and then brag about blocking them. This is the biggest editor in Marvel Comics. Do you understand? Sitting there openly hostile with fans. Well, this X-Men graphic sure brought people out in force. One reminder that I thought wouldn't be necessary. Express whatever opinion you like, but if you show up with homophobia or bigotry or hate speak of any sort, it'll be an instant block. I mean, okay, sir, this is a Wendy's. X-Men from the Ashes, listen, Gravin Knight says, "Hey, how about you just tell a good story and stop shoving the message down our throats?" So that's one customer's point of view here, is that, I don't like the stuff that you've been doing. How about if you just tell stories without it being about your left-wing politics? And Tom Brevoort comes back with this. It's X-Men. The message, leftism, is the premise. All right. Gravin Knight says, then you don't understand X-Men and should leave your job to someone who could do it better than you. And of course, he's 100% right. Now, people like Tom Brevoort believe and talk about how the X-Men is some kind of a metaphor. It's an allegory for the civil rights movement and homosexuality, all of these things. And it can be. I mean, understand that X-Men is a broad topic. When these people say the comics are for everyone, I agree with them. They should be for everyone. Everybody can get something out of them. It's about you in some way. We don't have to specifically try to represent each individual. Peter Parker is all of us. It doesn't matter that he's white and a male. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that he's heterosexual. Everybody's been reading Spider-Man now for 70 years because they see something, 70, 60 years, because they see something of themselves in Peter Parker Spider-Man. That's why he works. That's why he's important. That's why Miles Morales, aside from copyright chicanery and shenanigans, was never necessary in the first place. Because it's all about the characters. It's not about the message. It's about the characters. It's about the story, Tom. That's what it is. Further than that, X-Men's never been about only about civil rights and gays. What is X-Men truly about? Why does it connect with so many people? I'll tell you. Let me give you a little tip, a secret. What is X-Men truly about? Listen, it's about puberty. That's what it's about. It's about teenagers who already feel isolated and weird, and they feel like they're special but misunderstood. Every single teenager feels like that. And then their bodies are changing. That's what it is. That's what X-Men largely is. And along with that, you might feel distanced from the rest of the world. You might feel unique and different because you are a person of color in what you consider to be maybe a mostly white population. Maybe that's a thing with you, maybe not. Maybe you're gay, maybe you're not. Maybe you're trans, maybe you're not. All of these things are covered by the overall circus tent that is X-Men. It's about, feeling different. It's about going through changes, your body going through changes. Literally, it's mostly about puberty, in fact. And that's why most people who find X-Men and stick with X-Men find it when they're 12, 13 years old. They might not even know why it's connecting with them, but that's why it's connecting with them. That is the power of Stan Lee and Chris Claremont. That's what they did. But you know what? If the message is the premise and all of these things are important, that we stick by the message. Well, there was another book that had a message. It was called The Punisher. The message of The Punisher was that the criminal justice system is broken. And that's a message that, again, everybody can agree with. That is not a right-wing message. That is not a left-wing message. That is just a message. And yet it is political at the same time, isn't it? You can certainly infer, you can blame certain people, you can assign solutions that reflect your politics. But the Punisher is a character that Marvel Comics could no longer abide by because one way of looking at the Punisher is right-wing. Here's Tom Brevoort. I've loved a lot of Chuck Dixon's comics and worked with him a time or two. By the way, this is a strategy the cancel pigs employ right before they decide that they're going to destroy you. First, they try flattery. I find it perplexing to equate that sensible, knowledgeable writer, with the guy spouting ignorant nonsense about the Punisher on his podcast and elsewhere. He's smarter than that. He knows better. Tom, make room for the idea that Chuck Dixon may be twice as smart as you. Okay? I just allow for that possibility for one single moment. The idea that, Chuck Dixon is going to be taken in by Tom Brevoort, the kid with the lunch tray on the cafeteria floor, the chocolate milk all in his glasses, sitting there saying, I thought you were smarter than this, Chuck. Chuck Dixon is somebody who completely understands the Punisher and every single character that he works on. He doesn't have to work on characters with a right tilt. I think Chuck can write anyone, and he does just fine. And the reason why you and Marvel Comics had trouble with the Punisher is that the police and the military were adopting the logo, and that drove you nuts. And that isn't a supposition of mine. You guys actually said as much on Twitter. You guys brought it up. You guys bragged about how you thought Punisher should be destroyed as a character at Marvel because people that you didn't like were associating with the Punisher. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? The idea that people that you don't like are liking a comic book character and associating with a comic book character, and therefore you can no longer enjoy that character. That's interesting. I would call that bigotry. I would say you should instant block yourselves, you and everybody at Marvel who got rid of the Punisher just because of the hatred in your heart for people who protect and serve this country, either on the streets or overseas. I think that's a real shame. So what's going to come of this? I don't know. All I know is this. Use your social media for one thing or the other. Either have an official social media where you present Marvel Comics information and then let the fans go ahead and bicker over it. It's like throwing a chicken carcass to a school of piranha and then criticizing the way that they attack it. No, their fans are allowed to say whatever they want to say about anything. They're the fans, they're the customers. You chastising them, you attempting to humiliate and denigrate them, you being at odds with your customer base makes you a liability to not only Marvel Comics but Disney, Tom. And it's not going to be long before they do something about it. Take my word for it. This is Ethan Van Sciver, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell for notifications, share this video, and consider supporting comic books from a guy who loves you. I don't care what you can criticize my stuff all day long. That's fine. I still love you. I want you to read Cyberfrog. Here's a sales pitch. You watch this and you tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks.